Thank you. They'll give you a chance to get settled. We have probably a dozen seats right over here against the aisle. Probably maybe 20 over here against this aisle. We don't have the final count yet, but I know this much. As of yesterday at noon, we had 605 more than we had last year. And 1 out of every 3 people in this auditorium is a man of God. Or at least claims to be. Just about 1 out of every 3, maybe 3.1, is a preacher of some sort. But when you leave here, you're going to be a ball of fire, I'll tell you for sure. So you can burn out in a matter of a few weeks. There's a white Omni RUP 667IO license in the parking garage. Your lights are on. That was at 8:20. Your lights are on. Okay. Everybody find a seat. We still have a few over here in this corner. This is pretty full over here now, nearly full. Probably room for 4 or 5 over here, and we probably have room for another dozen or maybe 20 over here. Okay, this is the morning that we recognize those from the South. Yesterday morning we recognize those from the West, so let's have all the rebels stand up, all the Southerners. Would you stand up? Thank you. Thank you. A big hand for all the Southerners, everybody else, okay? Thank you. We had a hard time this year figuring out where some places were from, Right. We had a hard time deciding whether, for example, what's Oklahoma? South, west, or what? West? They're still fighting about it. What's Texas? South or west? We had a real discussion. I said Texas and Oklahoma were in the South. My staff, most of them, thought they were in the West. So we decided they were in the South. I have more electoral votes than they do. So a big warm welcome to all you rebels.
good to be with you this morning. Good to be here. You know, I've got some bad news to share with you this morning. Yes, John MacArthur's sons really let him down. Dr. MacArthur's son is now the head of the National Red Cross Blood Drive. Yeah, not long ago I was preaching a tent revival. It rained for 10 days straight, and by the end of the revival, we were singing It's Still the Mud. And this portion of Pastor School brought to you by the Moanback Brothers Garbage Company. Their song, Moan Back, the Moanback Brothers Garbage Company. We're always willing to take your trash for you with Moanback Brothers Garbage Company. And remember our motto, nobody sticks their nose in our business. I'd like to welcome all of you from the South. Thank you. Really, I feel this morning like the lightning bug that backed into a fan. I'm delighted to be here. One of the great heroes of the South, one of the most well-known heroes of the South, is Elvis Presley. I'd like to do my Elvis imitation for you right now. Well, you know, down in the South, they have a lot of picking and grinning down there, you know, a lot of that country music down there, old fine hillbilly songs. And I met my song director at the Bucky Baptist Church. I found him down south at one of those old-fashioned sings down there. And he was the warm-up singer for Ned Snavely and the Nine Nasty Nose Pickers singing, "Come Out, You Little Booger." Song was written by Jim Pickett. I brought my song director with you, and we're going to do a little picking and grinning in honor of the South this morning. My song director, his name is Roadhog, Rudy Lee Roadhog. Let's have a hand for Rudy Lee Roadhog. Rudy?
Well, hey, man, it's so good to be here today. So good to have a microphone now, too. Thank you very much. Well, I want you to pray for me. Haven't practiced much, but just going to do the best that we can for the glory of God. You know what I mean?
Do a little picking for us. He's good. It's almost like that thing could read his fingers.
You know that, Brother Bucky, before I got into church work, I was a real lady killer. You know that?
Yeah, they take one look at you and drop dead. Hard turning that thing off sometimes.
Yeah, buddy. Get them fingers moving. They're just trained so well.
Yeah.
Now, Brother Bucky, you need to be nice to me. We're here to entertain these folks. You know, sometimes your mind does tend to wander.
Well, don't worry. It's too weak to go very far.
Yeah. That's true. Yes, it is.
You know, the other day, my wife, she came in, she said, "Bucky," she said, "there were 2 cookies in the pantry. Now there's only 1. Could you explain that?" I said, "Yeah, it must have been too dark for me to see the other one."
Brother Bucky.
Yeah.
Do you wake up grumpy in the morning?
No, I just let her sleep.
You know, Brother Bucky?
Yeah?
The other day, my son came crying to me. He said, "Daddy, Mama ran over my bicycle." I said, "Son, that'll teach you to park it on the front porch."
Well, you know, these people here are so nice. When I walked into pastor school, somebody said, "Bucky, could I carry your bag?" I said, "No, let her walk." You You know, I found a low-calorie shampoo just for you.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah, it's made specially for fat heads.
You know, the other day, I saw Brother Hyles going into the barber shop.
Yeah?
Yep. Went in for a shave and a shave.
Whoa! I found a cure for baldness.
You did?
Yes, I did. I found a cure. You just drink alum and persimmon mixed together. Doesn't help you grow any hair, just shrinks your head to fit the hair you have.
You know, Brother Bucky,
Yeah.
I found that there's 3 stages in life.
Yeah?
Youth, middle age, and you're looking fine. Brother
And
Hyles.
Brother Hyles, you're looking fine. You know, I found that being a husband, just like any other job, it helps if you like the boss.
You know, Brother Bucky,
No, I don't, but if you quit laughing, we get on with this thing.
my wife came up to me and she said, honey, will you love me when I'm old and gray? I said, I sure do.
Whoa! You know, my wife's cooked so many TV dinners, she thinks she's in show business.
Got stuck again there. Sorry about that.
I saw that.
You know, I was talking to Mrs. Colston the other day.
Yeah?
And she was relaying to me that folks talk 10,000 words a minute in a day. They say they speak 10,000 words in a
Is
day.
that right?
The average person does that.
Yeah?
I said, Miss Colston, you're far above average.
Well, I'd just like to leave y'all with a few words of advice. Always remember, you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't wipe your friends on the couch.
Well, while we're honoring the South today, I think it's fitting for us to thank you Southerners for Governor Clinton. Okay, talking about the South, we got a little rebel we want to introduce you to this morning. Ricky? Ricky? Well, get out here, man. Where were you?
I was getting a haircut.
Didn't finish, did they?
Well, I got a short neck, and you can't see when it gets cut short.
I noticed. I couldn't see it.
But it's looking better, isn't it?
Barely.
Well, then I guess I'm a rebel. You know what?
What?
I was listening to old Gucky Tucker.
Yeah?
He's funny. Yeah, and you know what? I wished I had a lower IQ so I could talk to him.
Maybe Geraldine could talk to him.
Well, I hear you have a lot of fellowship with him. Amen.
Amen.
It's gonna be another good day.
Oh, it really is.
I love the South. I grew up in the South.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did. And I even went in them cotton fields and picked cotton and everything.
Is that right?
Yeah. Did you?
Yes, I pick cotton.
You worked? When did you quit?
About 30 minutes after I started.
You know what, Dr. House? I want to introduce you today to one of my little goodies.
Who?
Yeah, you know what happened to me last night?
No.
I nearly got crushed to death.
You did?
In that crowd.
Wow.
You know who nearly crushed me?
Who?
He backed up on me.
He backed up on you.
I heard him.
Patterson.
Jack Patterson? I bet he did nearly crush you.
Stand up, Patterson.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, Sim. No, not that close.
Not that close. That's good.
Yeah, get up again, Patterson. You know what I suggest? He nearly crushed me.
Wow.
I suggest you getting a geeper.
A beaver.
Yeah. And then when he backs up, I know he's coming. Let him use yours. I love you.
You don't love me either. You don't love me.
Missy Lane made me do that.
Maybe Geraldine could recommend the kind she uses.
Oh, you're gonna get it now.
I know it. I done got it.
I feel it coming on now. I heard you know. Oh, let me introduce you to Patterson. Get up here. Come on up here. I want to show you. Stand right up there.
Stand right over here? Yeah.
Up high.
Up high. Get up here on the steps.
And where is Boggy Brindle at?
Brother Bobby Brindle, come up here, Brother Bobby.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We're gonna call him Jackie.
Oh, yeah.
And Greta Patterson is gonna be the ventriloquist. Sit on his lap. Sitting on your lap.
Put Brother Bobby on your lap.
You ought to hear him sing. Is he on your lap?
Huh?
Is he on his lap?
There he is.
Yeah! All right! Yeah.
That worries me some.
Well, it oughta. You trained him. I love you, Greta Doggy.
Don't believe him. You don't love anybody.
He's not goody. And you know what, Dr. Hyles?
What?
He loves you.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah, he loves your preaching.
Well, wonderful.
He said that you do remind him of Pharaoh.
A pharaoh.
Dr. Hyles reminds you of Pharaoh?
That's what he said.
Yeah, he said every time you get up to preach, you won't let the people go. Ain't it? I said, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
You know what, Dr. Hyles?
What?
I know that you're saved.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I know that you're so saved that if a mosquito that mosquito would fly off singing "There's car in the blood," ain't it?
Thank you. I got to brag on your outfit this morning.
Isn't it nice?
That's nice.
Yeah, all of these, I get to keep them.
Yeah, you get to keep them.
Oh, I love it. I never had a whole wardrobe like this.
You've got you one
Yeah,
now.
I'm from the south.
Yeah.
And the moral, I'm gonna be from the north.
Yeah.
Are you from the south or the north?
Yes, uh-huh.
You don't know, do you? You know what? I was gonna engage. No, I'm not. I'm not gonna engage in a battle of wits with you.
You're not going to engage in a battle of wits?
We heard what he
with
said.
Dr. Hyles?
No, 'cause I never attacked an unarmed man. That's cute, isn't it? I just sat here and thought of that. No.
Yeah, that's it. It wasn't hard to figure that you just thought of that one.
Well, you know what?
What?
There's 3 words. You know the Bible. Amen?
I'm not going to touch that one.
Yes, he does know. I can answer Dr. Hyles knows the Bible.
Well, you know, there's 3 words a rich man will never hear.
What's that?
Attention, Kmart shoppers. You thought it was biblical, didn't you? Well, you know what? It's not old Gutty, Tom Neal here again.
Yeah, Tom Neal is here.
Yeah, he sees you back there this time.
Stand up, Tom. Did you hear about his accident?
No.
Oh, yeah, they had to rush him to the emergency room.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's in an accident.
Wow.
Had him covered up.
Is that right?
And meanwhile, there was another terrible accident. A whole bunch of kids in a bus got hurt.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and they was rushing them in.
Is that right?
Yeah, and the nurse came and she said, get a whole bunch of doctors. Here's a whole pile of them. But it was just him.
Not very nice.
I'm learning it from you. And you know what? While he was lying in the emergency room, you know how they was playing music?
Oh,
How?
yeah, it's to comfort you.
Not him.
It didn't comfort, the music didn't comfort Brother Tom.
Nuh-uh, 'cause they were playing Hang Down Your Head, Tom, a doodly. Hang down your head and cry. Here's a doctor die. Look, I'm doing
You win
the best
some and
I
lose
can.
some.
And you know what?
What?
You know, pain hits the weaker areas of the body.
Uh-oh.
How's your headache? No. You win some and lose some. Oh, Missy Lane had to go in and get an x-ray
Did she really?
Oh, an x-ray?
X-ray?
on her jaw.
On her jaw?
Yeah, but it was in motion so much they had to use a video. They did.
I can understand that.
I love, you know, you can eat on the floor at Missy Lane's house.
Eat on the floor?
Yeah, there's green beans, mashed potatoes, carrots. like your house, isn't it?
You're gonna get it. You're not gonna get it.
You know what? I asked Miss Hyles, how come she married you?
Oh, that'd be interesting to know.
And it wasn't because of your good looks.
Oh?
Although I think you're good looking in a way. Far away.
You don't say that.
I didn't, you did. No. Oh, you broke my cedar chest. Do you have a cedar chest?
I know what's coming next.
I hope she doesn't hit you on the head, because I know you got a knot head. I said it. She spit in my ear, but I said it. Good. Anyhow, you know, Patterson. I love him.
Jack Patterson?
Yeah, and you see that guy right down there?
Let's see, help me out. Ricky's not No, let's see. Brother Dobson. Do you know Brother Dobson?
Dallas Dobson?
Yeah.
Know him well.
Yeah, get up, Brother Dobson. You know, ooh, he's big too, isn't he?
Two? Who else is big? Go ahead. Oh, shut up. We didn't have you here to laugh. Talk through him.
I never talk when she's laughing. I learned to listen. But I know Greta Dobson real good.
Well, good.
Yeah, he does everything.
Oh, he does.
He does.
Flies airplanes.
Yes, right. Motorcycle.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Have you ever done that?
Ridden a motorcycle?
Yes, sir.
No, God save me.
God did what?
Geraldine wouldn't know.
It doesn't show, that's how come.
You shouldn't talk about hair like that.
Well, you're going to get it now. I feel it coming.
I've already had it. I felt it coming.
I had, you know what, I was walking down the hall the other day.
Yeah.
and I had a pair of blue jeans on.
Is that right?
Yeah. And on the back of my blue jeans, there was a little tag.
Uh-huh.
And the tag said, Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
And I saw you the other day with a pair of blue jeans on.
Yes, you did.
Had a tag on it.
What was the tag say?
Wide load. No. Let's cray. You need a hat.
Cover that hippie hair up best you can.
I did get a haircut.
You got cheated.
But you don't understand. If I cut it any shorter, the whole thing will come out. I'm serious.
What whole thing will come out?
His hair.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I cut it too short, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't have that glue to glue it on top of my head like you do.
It's spray.
Oh, hairspray?
Yeah.
Well, you know, you are looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love your hair.
Thank you.
And I love it. Are we going to sing?
I'm not.
Every day I'm going to ask you to sing.
Every day I'm going to say no.
You sing Love Lifted Knee, and then I'll sing It Took a Miracle.
Ricky, you be good to Dr. Hyles.
I am.
Men like him don't grow on trees, do they?
No, they hang from them. No, no. Well, you all need to get serious.
I hope so.
I am going to get serious right now, because
Good.
you know what?
What?
I like to have fun, but I love to share from Geraldine's heart.
Good.
Yeah, I enjoy you doing that too, Ricky. And today I do want you to share something with all of us.
You know, I woke up this morning, or I woke up one morning and rushed right into the day. I had so much to accomplish that I didn't take time to pray. Problems just tumbled about me. Heavier came each task. Why doesn't God help me? I wondered, and he answered, you didn't ask. Well, I tried to come into God's presence. I used all my keys at the lock. God gently, lovingly sided, Ricky, you didn't knock. I wanted to see joy and beauty, but the day toiled on, gray and bleak. Why doesn't God show me? And he answered, you didn't seek. So Dr. Hyles, I woke up early this morning and rushed right into the day. I knew I had to take time to pray, because I had so much, just hold it, so much to accomplish that I had to take, you silly, I had to take time to pray. Amen?
Amen.
And as Miss Elaine softly plays the piano, I want Geraldine to share something from her heart about prayer. Amen?
Amen. Have you ever stopped to ponder about the way you say your prayers? Are you humble and forgiving as you tell God of your cares? Or do you have a little rhyme to say to him each night? And in a real dramatic manner, do you tell him of your plight? Do you pray a prayer for others, people heartsick and in need, asking God to bless and save them? Or is your prayer a prayer of greed? Do you pray about the little things that vex you through the day and forget the broken-hearted that live just across the way? Oh, I wonder what the Savior thinks about some prayers he hears spoken glib and thoughtless, they must fill his eyes with tears. He's given us a pattern. If we'd only follow through, our thoughts would be for others and our lives sincere and true. And if our lives were lived for Jesus, then every prayer that we would say would bring joy to him in heaven and keep those tears away.
Have you ever stopped to ponder about the way you say your prayers? You know, Dr. Hyles, I get excited when I think about revival and how we as God's children, meaning you and all these creatures here and their wives and others, and how you can have a revival. And if gossipers shut up, lukewarm folks fire up, sleeping folks wake up, depressed folks cheer up, discouraged folks look up, dishonest folks face up, and soldiers of God stand up, then you can have a revival. Amen. And I'm so glad God wants his people to have a victorious life, a happy life, an exciting life. He never promised an easy journey, so he never said he'd dry up all the tears or take away our hurts. But he allows us to go through those valleys to help us grow, to draw us closer to him.
And we've had some valleys that we've gone through as a family, and I'm so glad that right now things are just so exciting and wonderful. And I don't know if maybe, was I here last year? Yeah, I shared some last year about some heartaches that we had with our teenager and some things that we went through, but he's doing so wonderful right now, and God allowed us to be foster parents and to have over or somewhere around 90 different boys in our home. And so I never dreamed our home would open up to be a ministry like that, and that was really exciting. There's a song I don't have, and I'm just going to wing it, and I hope you don't listen to the sounds and the tones. I don't have the music, Miss Elaine, because I've never found the music. But I was at a church, and a young lady sang this song, Dr. Hyles, and the whole time she was singing the song, I thought she was saying, God will make this child a blessing. And afterwards I went up to her and I said, I love that song you sang. It really touched my heart. And I would love that. And she had a pianist who didn't have the music, just played it, so I couldn't get the music. But she looked at me and she said, Miss Reagan, she said, it's God will make this trial a blessing. And then I thought about the message and still how it touched my heart, because our trial was our child. But he turned out to be a real blessing, and I praise the Lord for that. And I'm just going to, I don't even know, I just hope you hear what my heart wants to say. And like I said, don't listen to the tones and the sound. But I loved what this said because it really spoke to my heart. I've just come into a valley, one like I've never been before. I keep searching for a way out. Seems like padlocks on the door. There must be another sunrise, another sunset that I'll see. God will make this trial a blessing, and the whole wide world will see. God will make this trial a blessing, though he sends me to my knees. Though my tears flow like a river, yet in him there's sweet relief. There's no need to get discouraged. There's no need to talk defeat. God will make this trial a blessing. That's the love he has for me. I was not the first one to come into this place. You see, every child of God, this test he must face. It is here that God will mold you and make you what you ought to be. God will make this trial a blessing. Just be patient, you will see. God will make this trial a blessing. Though he sends me to my knees, though my tears flow like a river, yet in him there's sweet relief. There's no need to get discouraged. There's no need to talk defeat. God will make this trial a blessing. That's the love he has for me. Now I'm standing on the mountain. Looking back, I can see when I was in that lowest valley, his strong hand was leading me. Oh, it's good to see the sunshine and to taste sweet victory. God will make this trial a blessing, and the whole wide world will see. God will make this trial a blessing, though he sends me to my knees. Though my tears flow like a river, yet in him there's sweet relief. There's no need to get discouraged. There's no need to talk defeat. God will make this trial a blessing, and the whole wide world will see. God will make this trial a blessing, and the whole wide world will see.
Amen.
And he did. He will.
Amen.
And there always comes the time when Ricky's got to say goodbye, and you want to give him a little surprise today?
Oh, no, I know what it is.
Why don't we get Eddie to come out here and help me out?
Oh, no, I know what it is, Dr. Hyles.
What is it, Ricky?
It's that done suitcase.
Oh.
Oh, you're not going to let me go in there, are you?
Yeah, you have said some mighty bad things today about me.
But I was just cutting up.
Are you going to get right with God?
Yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
Am I right with you?
Not yet.
Well, if I can get right with you, I'll get right with God.
You're not going to get right with God today, then.
Well, then I'll get right with God, and he'll handle the rest.
We'll see.
Amen. will you?
I need that to open it up.
No, Dr. Hyles, do no. See me talking, Jordan.
Ricky, stay there with me and hold that up.
I'm not getting in.
No, Ricky, listen, we have to go.
No, wait a minute. No, way, Jose, I am not getting in. No. I'm not kidding.
My mother saw
I
this.
am not.
My mother saw you do this one time.
Yeah.
She wouldn't speak to Geraldine for a week.
I'm not going to speak to her either. I know what I'll do. I'll let her speak, and I won't open them now. Just her lips will be moving. I ain't getting in.
No, Ricky, we have to go now. Come on.
No, hey, Dr. Hyles, do you love me?
Yes, I love you, Ricky.
Will you do me a favor?
What's that?
You get in.
That's the nicest thing you said about me all day.
Well, get what you can in. Yeah. I love you.
Sure. See if I'm going to help you.
I don't want to get in there, Dr. Hyles.
You're on your own, buddy.
No, I don't want to get in. There's an arrogant gug in there.
What?
An arrogant gug.
Arrogant bug.
An arrogant bug.
A cockroach. It came out of your office and got in there. Don't you sit there. I'm gonna get out.
Let's give her a hand, shall we? to Brother Hyles over here. Uh-huh.
There's a Southern Baptist evangelist who's preaching in independent Baptist churches on the subject of the graded Sunday school system. What is your opinion of the graded Sunday school?
Thank you for asking me that. Back yonder years ago, some of us old timers pulled out of the Southern Baptist Convention. And now some of you young timers are wanting to take their methods that we put away from years ago. I'm totally opposed to the graded adult system in Sunday school, the Southern Baptist system. And I'm opposed to something else too. I'm opposed to Southern Baptists telling you how to run your church. That bothers the fire out of me. We pulled out a lot of that stuff. And you see, it's new to you guys. It's brand new and it sounded like something revolutionary. If you want to build a Southern Baptist church, why don't you join it? But I think we're fiddling around with it too much. I also think there are numbers of things that are coming around again. The Navigator's follow-up program is coming around again under new, in many areas, under a new label. Some of us fought awful hard to get us from where some of you folks trying to take us back. And if I don't understand it. Here's what's happening. The Southern Baptist churches, and I'm not Southern Baptist. I could not be Southern Baptist. I'm not opposed to Southern Baptists at all. I'm not opposed to Southern Baptist preachers. And I love you, not my friend, not my enemy. I'm your friend. But I could not be Southern Baptist. I could not belong to a denomination that has Furman University and Stetson University, Southern Seminary, Southwestern Seminary, Louisville Seminary. I couldn't do that. And but most of those churches that have gotten evangelistic got it right here in this room. So they're copying us while we're copying them. And that's why in some cases they're doing better than we are. Because they got it here and they're using our methods and we're copying their methods. Let's be independent Baptists. All right, it's time for us to talk a while about the Bible Club ministry. Brother Owens is going to come, and we're glad he's going to tell us some more about the Bible Club ministry.
In the next little while I'll speak to you, according to the national average, in 30 minutes, 85 teenagers will run away from home. It's almost 3 a minute. So every minute while I speak to you, someone will be leaving home. Now, mentioning 85 teenagers will leave home in the next 30 minutes doesn't mean a whole lot to us unless it's your teenager. And every teenager has a mom and a dad somewhere that care an awful lot about them. Yesterday we talked about where we would find teenagers, going out and visiting them. Now I'll tell you today about a Bible Club meeting, an actual meeting. We'd go out and take buses and vans, and we would gather up the teenagers that we had visited and invited to Bible Club. Now, we ask that they don't drive. Number one, if they drive themselves, quite often they may choose to leave before the preaching. We like a captive audience, so we transport them and they stay for the preaching for sure. And then, of course, we don't want them taking mom and dad's car and doing something silly with it while they're supposed to be at Bible Club. Now, when you're getting ready to start your very first Bible Club, I would suggest that you pick a place where the teenagers, someplace that they would be familiar with. I'll give you some places, some ideas on where you could hold an actual Bible Club meeting. For instance, you could have a Bible Club meeting in a park. If the weather was nice, you could have your first meeting at a park somewhere nearby. We, to this day, still use the parks from time to time. Another place where you could hold a Bible Club meeting, you might get a local YMCA. For a year and a half, we no longer use the facility, but for a year and a half, up until just a few months ago, we used a YMCA in the area. All the young people knew of the place, It was made available to us. It was free, and so we met at a YMCA. There'll be gymnasiums in your community that you might be able to use. You just approach someone, tell them you'd like to use it, and it's very possible they'll let you use a gymnasium. We used a library locally here. They have meeting rooms in libraries, sometimes conference rooms. And we've used a library, and the young people know of the library, and so it makes it very convenient for them. We've used other public facilities. There's just no telling where there's a building large enough where they might just agree to allowing you to have your Bible club meeting. Now, of course, you could use the church facilities. 90% of the time, I use our buildings, and I'll tell you why. If I can convince a young person to come to Bible club on Saturday on the property, I'm more apt to get them here on Sunday, and my whole goal is to get them in Sunday school. Then, you could use your school facilities. If you have a Christian school, there might be a place there where you could have a Bible club meeting. You could use your Bible club leader's home, and that'll work, and the teenagers will enjoy being in the home of a Christian. You could use the home of maybe some concerned church member. Maybe that's the part that they'll play in the Bible club ministry, by allowing you to use their home to have the teenagers every Saturday. Now, the next place you could have a Bible club, you could use a teenager's home. We've tried it. It's not my preference, but you could do it. The bad part about it is, because the teenagers are up and down and they're with you for a while, and sometimes they're not with you, you may get all your teenagers in the habit of going to another teenager's home and suddenly find out that that teenager is no longer serving the Lord. And now you've got a problem, because all your teenagers feel very comfortable in the home of someone who's not right with God. And so I lean away from that. It can work, and we've done it, but I want to salvage every one of them. I don't want to lose one. Then you could use the public school facilities. It works. We've done it before. But I'll say this, it's going to be a rare thing that you'll arrange it and keep your convictions. You see, I'm not going to compromise my Bible convictions to use their property, not at all. And so, but it can work. And if you feel like you have a situation where it will work, what I would do is this. If you want to use a public school facility, what I would do is I would find some teenagers from that school that will agree to come. I would try to get some of their parents to back you. I would even look for someone on the faculty or the staff of that school so you have some backing. Then you'll go to the activities director or to the principal and present your program. And be first class. Tell them what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. Let them know that you're a first-class organization. Well, I think you ought to tell them the benefits. You're going to teach the kids to follow leadership. You're going to teach the kids to be good citizens. You're going to teach the kids to study hard, because I think a public school teenager ought to study just as hard as a Christian school teenager should. So those are the type of things that will benefit the school. You'd have to request a room before school hours, after school hours, or on the weekend. I had a Bible club. My Bible club met before school hours for 30 minutes. And it worked well. They put a chaperone in the room. But if you can't follow their directions, don't even make the agreement. You're better off keeping a good relationship with the people at the school and having that meeting off the school grounds. See, I'm not out to fight that school. I'm out to fight the devil and reach those kids. That's really what I'm trying to get accomplished. Now, if you get a room there at that school, make report to the person that gave it to you. Let them see the progress, and then you can use that school to help you get into other schools. Tell another school that number one school has allowed you in, and that'll help you and it'll work. But remember, I'm after the kids. I'm not after the school system. I don't care nothing about the humanistic system. I care about the people within it. And so, now let me give you some ideas about the Bible Club. I'm going to give you some ideas about creating a club spirit. Just like any team, just like a football team, they need a camaraderie. Now, the reason kids they gravitate toward gangs today is they're looking for a unity. They're looking for a camaraderie. They're looking for a team spirit. And so that's what we do in the Bible Club ministry. We give them that team spirit. Every one of our Bible clubs has a name. I'll read the names to you. Soldiers for Christ, that's my Bible club. The Defenders, the Patriots, the Crusaders, the Fighting Eagles, the Swordsmen, the Conquerors, the Uncorruptibles. I wish it were true. The Uncorruptibles. The Victorians. We had a club that got real excited about being soul winners. They called themselves the Salvation Club. They want to all be soul winners in the club. The Saints. The Cavaliers. The Overcomers. The Contenders. The Guardians. Now, each one of our clubs has a name, and all the kids gravitate toward that. It's something big for them. Matter of fact, it's something for them to attach themselves to. Each club has a club verse that matches their club name. My club's called the Soldiers for Christ. We use 2 Timothy 2:4 as our club verse. No man that warreth entangleth himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who hath chosen him to be a soldier. Each club has their own personalized stationery. It's got the club name at the top and the logo of that club. Each club picks its own colors. And so when we're having an activity, when we're printing material, it all coordinates with those club colors. We have club membership cards. Maybe it'll have the club verse on the membership card. The club leader will sign the card. Often I sign the cards because I'm the Bible club director. Each one of our clubs, maybe they'll have, for instance, a club flag, and when we're having a great big rally with all of them, they'll all be flying their flags and holding posters up with pictures of their logo and their Bible club name on the flag. They have club chants and mottos and songs. For instance, they'll take the club verse and turn it into a club song. We have, some Bible clubs have club officers, where a young person is really shown that they love the Lord, and maybe they'll end up working as the student leader of that Bible club. Some clubs will take pictures all year long, and they'll have a club yearbook. Some of our clubs have a little button that they'll wear on their lapel. It's a picture. It has their Bible club name on it, and teens they're big on this thing of wearing buttons right now, and so they'll have a Bible club button, and they'll wear that on their lapel. Some of them have Bible club, they have Bibles printed with their Bible club's name on the front of it. King James Version, that is. And so our kids will get those free, and they really like it. They like having their Bible with their Bible club name on the front of it. Now, our only club that has a jacket is our Proverbs Club. Now, I'm going to tell you more about them later, but the reason I don't give all my teenagers jackets, Preacher and I discussed it, and we thought because many of them do have poor testimonies, we wouldn't want them running around advertising the church while they're stealing cars. And so we don't put jackets on them. Now, let me give you some ideas about different types of clubs that you can have. We have both junior high and senior high clubs, or if you'd like to call it middle school and senior high clubs. There's a vast difference between a 7th grader and a 12th grader. And so for instance, the Soldiers for Christ, we separate and put the junior hires in a club. Now, not always do we do that. Sometimes my club will all meet together, but we have separated the middle school and the high school. So you could have both junior high and senior high clubs. We have a club where we work especially with the athletes. What I do is I advertise that we're having what we call our athlete outreach, where we actually reach out to get the athletes, but I advertise it to all my 14 clubs, and I tell them we're going to have an athletic meeting. They all meet with me, and at that meeting, the kids that are already in another Bible club, they attend, but then we put a special emphasis to reaching their athletic friends or the people that they go to school with. And some of the guys that may not come to a regular Bible club would come to a meeting especially designed for the athletes. I may have one of the coaches at one of our schools speak at that club. Then we have what we call the Mary Martha Club. Now, the Mary Martha Club is a club within a club. I have 14 Bible clubs. Within each one of those 14 Bible clubs, I have what's called the Mary Martha Club. It's a club especially designed for the ladies. On the other hand, I also have a club within a club. It's called the Mighty Men's Club. So each one of my 14 Bible clubs have 2 clubs within that unit. One especially for the ladies, the other especially for the boys. Now, the Mary Martha Club, only for the girls. They're taught about proper dress, marriage, cooking, how to wear makeup, how not to wear makeup. We have a clothing closet there. We've gathered a lot of dresses and skirts, and we offer the girls clothes that they can they can wear to church, and encourage them to dress right. We give them a dress. They're supposed to make us a promise that they'll wear it. And so the clothing closet has put a lot of girls in skirts that may not have wore a skirt otherwise. Sometimes the girls will just play a game. Now, we don't meet with the Mary Martha Club every week. It's an every other week type thing. We teach against Planned Parenthood and abortion there. Then we have what we call the Mighty Men's Club. The Mighty Men's Club is a club just for the boys. They'll spend the afternoon playing basketball, just that part of the Bible club. They'll go play ball together. One day I came out and a bunch of our boys were gathered around a car, and we were teaching them to fix the brakes on a car. They help with church repairs. We've been working on a room that it's kind of our project. We're fixing it up. And when we're done with it, preacher said we can use it to have a Bible club meeting. And the boys are excited about getting to learn to do those things. We teach them on how to get a job. Somebody has to. And we teach them how to get a job. One day, we just had a day where we brought application forms in. We taught them how you fill out an application. We taught them how that they can become a part of being a good citizen in America and paying bills and doing right by our country. We have free haircut day for the Mighty Men's Club. We'll just tell all the boys that if they show up, we're giving free haircuts. We did it just a few weeks ago again, and boys come in and they get their haircut. And of course, the Bible Club leader encourages them. It's free. And there's no better time to talk a boy into getting a haircut than when he's already with you and excited about the day and serving the Lord. You hit him on Tuesday when he's been with his buddies for 2 days back in the public school. It's a little scarier to cut that long old tail off. But you get him when he's right there with you and you've been loving him and telling him you love him and God loves him, that old tail will fall to the ground. Then we have our thing called the Proverbs Club. We'll talk more about it later, but it is one of the clubs that we have and we make available to the teenagers. Now, let me talk to you about the actual club meeting. When you're going to have your very first club, I would say this: you ought to have a starting date about 6 weeks out there in the future. You get a big drawing card. Maybe you want to have a pizza party. Maybe you want to have a 12-foot long banana split. We built a 25-foot long banana split. And you say, how do you do that? Well, all you do is you get an eaves trough or guttering off of a house. You wrap it in aluminum foil, and you jam that thing full of ice cream and all the junk that makes it special, and people come from everywhere. You tell them that you're going to have a 25-foot long banana split. Most of them never seen anything like that. Then you visit for those 5 or 6 weeks. The day of your first club, you go out and visit all morning long to invite them and get them there. Then you provide the transportation and you bring them in to whichever place it is you're going to meet. Whether it's in a park or that's irrelevant. It's the kids that we want. You say, well, we don't have any place. There is some place if you want the kids. There is some place. I mean, they'll meet on the street corner. Will you? I guess that's a question. Now let me give you the routine, the order of service that we use. When my kids come in, I always have the boys sit on the right side and the girls sit on the left side. I always do that. And I have a reason. The boys aren't spiritual yet. And so for the most part, they're not about to make a decision if there's a girl sitting behind them. So usually spiritual men don't let women decide for them. Let me give you the order of service. We would start out with a song, and it would be somewhat peppy. We want them to be excited about serving the Lord. A lot of teenagers think that serving the Lord is a drab and a dry and it'd be a treacherous thing, but that's not so. Someone came by yesterday and they asked me a question. They said, we couldn't get our teenagers excited about that. I said, no, the problem is you won't get excited about it. And so if you can get excited about it, you have to teach people what to get excited about. And so we get excited at the very beginning of this thing, and we start out with a song, then an introduction, and a word of prayer. Then we have that game we call a crazy time. We try to get the whole group involved right at the first crazy time. We want involvement. I need all the involvement I can get out of the kids at this point. Then we'll have some announcements. I'll announce our whole program. I want them to know that they can be busy from Saturday all the way through Sunday night and then again on Wednesday night, and who knows what activities I'll have on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. But I tell them everything that's going on. At that point, we may divide into the Mary Martha Club and the Mighty Men's Club. Again, I don't do that every week. It's an every other week thing. Now, in my order of service, I'd come to another crazy time. At this point, we've got a funnel here. I'm bringing it down, and we're getting more and more serious. I may only have 2 people participate in this crazy time. We have what we call our character building time. That would be where I might have a music exchange. That would be where I might have the hero time. And I'll tell you a little more about that in a moment. But we have a character building time. We take an offering. The kids can and they will give. If they can afford $150 tennis shoes, they can afford to tithe. But you just got to give them a chance. Now, we don't teach them to tithe at Bible club. They're taught to put their tithe on Sunday morning just like everybody else ought to. But they can give in the offering and help support the program. We'll slow down a little bit and have a slow song then. And then we'll have a special. Sometimes the workers. Sometimes it might be a teenager that would sing. And then the message. I always have an invitation. And often we'll have refreshments at the end of the day. Now, let me break a few of those things down and tell you a little bit about them. For instance, let me suggest the kind of songs that I use with my teenagers. We use choruses because they're easy for them to remember. So we use a lot of choruses. Secondly, we use old-time gospel hymns. You see, my whole goal in my Bible club is to get my kids right here in this church and become deacons and Sunday school teachers. And so I want them, when they come on Sunday morning, to feel comfortable. And so I sing gospel hymns on Saturday, so when they get here on Sunday morning, they already know what we're all about. And that helps them to feel more comfortable in the church service. And I use a lot of scripture songs. And so we're very repetitious. We use a lot of scripture songs, and we turn Bible club verses, that verse that goes with their club, like 2 Timothy 2:4, we turn that into a theme song. So they're always hearing those songs. We turn the Romans Road into a song. And they learn to be soul winners, and they don't even know they're doing it their very first time there. Then there's the thing we call the character building time. I'll use skits to teach the young people. I talked about the thing called hero time. If you were here Monday night, we brought some great big pictures out. Now, teens are hero worshipers. And if you don't give them someone good as a role model, they'll pick someone. And you've already seen who they pick. And so we need to give them good role models. I'll pick someone maybe from the Bible, maybe Solomon, and we'll just talk about Solomon and his wisdom. Maybe we'll take someone like Abraham that was a friend of God. We'll talk about Abraham. Maybe Ruth, her loyalty. Maybe someone like Dr. John R. Rice. You say, but I don't have a big picture like that. You have Christian newspapers that have pictures, and you have books that have pictures. I just hold up a picture of Dr. Rice, and I'll say, this was a great man. Oh, Dr. Rice played football. I'll get their attention. And I'll say, but he was a great man that took a stand for God. I'll take someone like Billy Sunday. I'll say, he used to play baseball. But then he decided he had something even better to do with his life. He went out preaching and shutting bars down. And you could do something like that. So I encourage them to take the old posters down and put the new posters up. I encourage them to get pictures of great heroes. And so that's hero time. Then our music exchange. Every week, I say to the young people, you give me the bad, I give you the good. You give me the bad, I give you the good. I'll say to them, you give me the rock and roll, I'll give you a tape, maybe Mrs. Hyles singing. You give me the country, I'll give you a tape. You give me the Christian rock, I'll give you a tape. You give me anything, it just doesn't want to sing about Jesus, I'll make you a trade because I got something good for you to stick in your tape player. And so the music exchange. Now, we buy up tapes to make them available. Sometimes I'll tell the kids, well, how many would you like to trade? You've got your choice. I've got some good preaching tapes here. Would you like to trade your rock and roll for a preaching tape? That's a pretty good exchange. And sometimes they'll do that too. Now, we had a group we called the Bible Club Trio. They're workers. They sang all the songs that we teach our teenagers. We put that on a tape. That's one of our teenagers' favorite tapes. We just got together. We made the tape because the kids needed to hear those songs, and it's helped them an awful lot. Then the message, our preaching time. We never replace the message. We never replace it with a film. We never replace it with an activity. I told my Bible Club leaders, and they know this, you replace the message, I replace you. The message is the most important part of the day. You say, can the teenagers take the preaching? You'd be surprised what they can take. You would be surprised. Our rules, as you hear the Proverbs Club rules when they come along, they're awful steep. Awful steep. And the kids can take the hard preaching. For a lot of our kids, well, no, not a lot. For some of our kids, it's the only preaching they hear. See, they come on Saturday to Bible club. Now, about 80% of them are going to come back on Sunday to go to Sunday school. But for that 20% that have not come yet, this is the only preaching they get. And they need preaching to survive to the next Saturday. Now, I want them here on Sunday, but while I've got them on Saturday, I've got to get the truth to them if I'm ever going to get them in on Sunday. And so, I don't use my preaching as a whipping post. I can see someone out there thinking, boy, I'll just tear this thing up. No, if you're not careful, you'll tear them up. You got to love them. They've got to, they don't trust many people. The world's not been real trustworthy. And the young lady that came here from LCJC, if you're here on Monday night, she was saved through the Lake County Juvenile Center. Her shock was that everybody kept on telling her that they loved her and they didn't even know her, and that's how they feel. How can you love me? You don't even know me, but you can prove it by preaching to them and loving them while you're preaching to them. I don't use my preaching like peer pressure. I let the Holy Spirit take care of it. See, I'm not mad at the kids. I'm mad at the devil. And they can tell the difference. They can tell the difference. Love them. A message might last 30 minutes. And they'll listen. Now, their Bible knowledge is limited, so be careful. Don't assume anything. Teach them. Let them know that you're taking the truth from the Bible. Then the invitation. I'll give an invitation in Bible Club. I'll ask anyone that wants to get saved. They'll bow their head and close their eyes. I'll ask them to raise their hand if they'd like to be saved. Then later, I'll ask them to come forward and we'll deal with them. Maybe a teenager will win them to Christ in the front of our little meeting. And whether we've got 5 or we've got 50 in that Bible club, I'll have the invitation. And I'll always preach. If I've only got 1 teenager in a Bible club, we'll preach. We'll do everything. First class for 1 person. Because if I've only got 1 now, I plan to get 50, and I've got to be first class with the first one if he's going to help me get the other 50. And 1 person deserves it. 1 person deserves the best that we've got. And so we'll have the invitation. Sometimes I'll have the kids just go to their knees at their seat. Always in my invitation at the end, I ask them, how many of you have a special prayer request you need Brother Owens to pray about? Virtually every week, 100%. All have burdens. All have needs. Then, the last of my invitation, I say this. How many of you come to Sunday school tomorrow? Stand to your feet. Everybody look up. How many of you come to Sunday school tomorrow? And they all stand. Some of them stand that didn't plan to come to Sunday school tomorrow, but now they're committed. And they'll come to Sunday school. We have, then, for all of our Bible clubs, we've prepared a newspaper. We call it the Lifeline of the Old Time Gospel. It's especially designed for the Bible club teenagers. We give it out once a month. Each one of my 14 Bible clubs would receive a copy of the Lifeline newspaper. I'll tell you some of the things that we put on that paper. We have a column that says, Brother Owens says. And that's where I repeat in the paper something I've said to them at a rally. And they'll all remember that. I've just got to keep on poking at it and keep on poking at it. That's what the devil does with that rock and roll garbage. Just keeps on poking at them. Keeps on poking at them. And I can't think of anything better than to keep on poking at them with the Bible. And so I repeat something I've already taught. We have a column for Brother Hyles. It's Brother Hyles says. And we put little things, for instance, from his books that will help teenagers. Things that he said. We put them in our paper. In the paper, we have what we call the Bible Club of the Month. Now remember, this goes to every teenager throughout the ministry. They're all 14 Bible clubs. Every teenager in every club gets the very same paper. So this holds us all together as a unit. We have the Bible Club of the Month. We might mention the Bible Club leader's name in that. The name of the club. Special activities the club had. How many that club had in Sunday school. How many that club had in out soul winning. And we brag on that club. And boy, they get excited about, look, we're the Club of the Month. Look, that's our leader's name. And they get excited about that. We have a column in the Bible Club newspaper called An Important Teenager. We'll take 1 teenager. We'll all vote on it. The leaders will all vote on 1 teenager. And we'll highlight that teenager for the month. We'll tell how they're soul winning. We'll tell how they're in the Proverbs Club. We'll tell how they're faithful to Sunday school. We have a calendar of events. We have a Sunday school announcement part where we make announcements about what's happening in Sunday school. There, I'll talk about the Sunday school teachers so they can get to know the teachers before they even get to Sunday school. I have what's called an update on Bible Club Teenage Soul Winning. That's where we tell them who got saved. I may list every teenager that came to Bible Club Teenage Soul Winning in the paper. Boy, I don't know a teenager alive that doesn't want their name in print somewhere. It's exciting to them. We always have a cartoon in there. And then we have the Bible Club leader of the month. And a leader will say to the other teenagers, help me now. We ought to do this. We ought to get together on this. And they'll work very hard at it. Now, I'm going to give you a unique way that we have a Bible club meeting. It's one of the ways that we have used to gather new prospects. We call it a progressive Bible club party. And boy, have we had a lot of success with this thing. Here's how it works. It's for your Saturday Bible club, and it's a visitation idea. Instead of having Bible club that day in a building, you're going to have Bible club on the bus. We gather all of our workers together that day for visitation. So I take all the North Hammond Soldiers for Christ workers. I'm there. We'll go out and visit in the morning and tell all the teenagers about our progressive party on the bus. We'll then, of course, we would have advertised the week before for this. Then the workers go back and we decorate that bus. We have party hats and horns and balloons. We have chips and popcorn and candy bars and pop. And then we all climb on that bus and we go to the very first teenager's house. Every one of us get off the bus. We knock on the door. We hand him a bottle of pop, a candy bar, put a hat on his head and say, we're having a party. You coming? He gets on the bus. Then I say to him, hey, you got any friends that like to come to the party? He said, yeah, right here. We stop. He gets off the bus. All the workers get off the bus. He takes the pop. He takes the candy bar. We knock on the door. He shoves the pop in the kid's hand, the candy bar in the kid's hand. We put a hat on his head, say, you coming? Yeah, I'm coming. The last time I did this, 5 hours, house to house to, hey, you coming? 50 teenagers piling off the bus. You talk about exciting. I mean, I got more contact. We had kids running up the street. Man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh, you can't come. This is church. You can't come. Oh, I got to come. Well, I guess, all right. We'll work you in. And then we tell them we're going to have it on the bus the next day for Sunday school. Oh, I'll be here. So we do something like that on the bus for Sunday school. And before long, I've got first-time visitors begging first-time visitors to come to Sunday school the next day. And they've never even been to Sunday school. So it's a progressive party on the bus. We have a Sunday morning Bible club bus route then, and I'll talk to you about that for just a few minutes. Our bus routes are especially designed for Bible club teenagers. I have 5 routes right now. We had 160 teenagers last Sunday morning. Now their parents and younger brothers and sisters may ride that route. That 160 is not counting the parents and the children. I specialize in teenagers. The program on the bus is held especially for teens. We have Bible we have Bible drills on that bus. We have some of those crazy times on that bus. One they really like is I take 2 goldfish, and I start a goldfish at the front on each side of the bus. We have a contest to see who can pass that goldfish through every hand of the person on their side of the bus to the back and then to the front again. Now, the girls don't like it, but the men love it. They think that's exciting. Then you get the Bible club leader to swallow the goldfish, you got it all. And so everything we do on that bus is for the teenagers. You take, a lot of times a teenager on a bus full of children feels out of place. But on our bus it's totally different. Our bus is packed full of teenagers and there's a few children there. And they feel a little bit out of place. So many times I've watched a teenager on a bus full of children. And it just wasn't geared for them. Ours is totally geared for the teenager. For instance now, some of us lose our teenagers when they get a little bit older. They come as children, then we lose them. On my route, the kids cannot wait to become teenagers, to be on the route. And so that's what the Bible Club bus route does for us. We have attendance campaigns. We had, for instance, a campaign for our buses called Water Wars. Didn't cost us much. All 5 of our buses after church every Sunday morning would go to the park and we had a water balloon fight. The campaign worked well. The bus captain that had the lowest attendance, he went to the firing squad. Everybody that brought visitors got water balloons to throw at each other. Teenagers loved it. Teenagers everywhere were saying, I'm going to church. They're having water wars after church. For 5 weeks we did that. Now the last thing about our Bible Club buses, I tell my bus captains, sometimes someone may come and speak on a bus in the morning. Rare though. I'm always telling my Bible club leaders and bus captains, I'm always telling them, I don't want them preaching hard to the kids in the morning. I want the kids to make their decisions right in here, under the preacher. If they're all preached out and they've made all their decisions, they're not used to making a decision under Brother Hyles. Now salvation, we want to get them saved the minute we can. But we don't wear them out on Sunday morning. I want them to be at their best when they sit right over here to hear their pastor speak to them.
I'm just trying to help you find some time to have a ministry to teenagers. How about your golf time? Just take that 4 hours every week, and you'll be a teen public school ministry. If you'll take 4 hours and just think. Just think. That's all. Or how about taking the time between the time you should get up and the time you get up? Just that time. Now you listen to me. The difference between you and the fellow just walked out of here is not talent. The difference is character. You discipline yourself to work and care, and I'll promise you, you can reach public school teenagers. You know, these kids, we're talking about middle class America now. Bus kids, we're talking about mostly socially, financially, less affluent. But we're talking about people that live now in these anywhere from a $75,000 to a $300,000 house. These kids you saw up here Monday night in these Bible clubs, these were kids that come from middle class America. But we got the idea we can't do it, and that's why we can't do it. Want to stand and stretch? Brother Trieber, come and have a seat up here if you would. Hi, Doc. God bless you. All right, be seated, please. They're cheering their preacher. That's what they're doing. Brother Trieber. One of the most important men in America is Jack Trieber. Beyond any shadow of a doubt. One of the most needed men in America. One of the most phenomenal ministries in America. He's going to tell you about it, but he's built a church, giant, great church, on no property at all, almost, in a town where property will sometimes cost you $2 million an acre. It's unbelievable. He's a dear friend, true friend, loyal friend. I love him very, very much. Before he comes, we'd like to make him feel at home. Of course, I can tell you what church he's from. He's from the North Valley Baptist Church of Santa Clara. And, of course, that is the, shut up. Santa Clara is just it's in the greater San Francisco area. And, of course, you know what San Francisco is famous for.
San Francisco, open your golden gate. You let no stranger wait outside your door. San Francisco, here is your wandering one, saying I'll wander no more. Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the golden West. San Francisco, welcome me home again. I'm coming home to go roaming no more. It only takes a tiny corner of this great big world to make a place you love. My home upon the hill, I find I love you still. I've been away, but now I'm back to tell you. San Francisco, open your golden gate. You let no stranger wait outside your door. San Francisco, here is your wandering one, saying I'll wander no more. Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the golden West. San Francisco, welcome me home again. I'm coming home to go roaming no more.
Yes, we are from San Francisco. Now, you'll have to forgive me. I'm just a little bit nervous. I don't think I've ever had this many men looking at me before. Now, let me tell you, Brother Trieber has made me what I am today. He has spent countless hours with me, counseling me. Yes, he has. Okay, now I'd like to get on. And now, on behalf of those in San Francisco, and especially my neighborhood, and Brother Trieber's church, I show to you my pastor, Brother Jack Trieber.
He's not from our church. No, I'm not shaking your hand. No way. He has got to be from Michigan, I'm sure. No, I saw it in his wiggle. I know. You don't need to look for those things, you see. Yeah. First Baptist Church of Hammond's had a great impression on us. Of course, every ministry we have, the bus ministry, the soul winning, we learned it here. Our homosexual ministry. I'm grateful Brother Hyles sent out Brother Jack Patterson and taught us how to establish it. And I am delighted to be here. Pastor school means so much to me. I started coming in '77. I believe I've attended every one since then. God took me to my church in 1976, March the 1st. And it's been 16 wonderful years. I've been asked to speak about an unusual part of our ministry. It's unique to our area. And quite frankly, I wish many of your churches could begin it. And many of your churches will not be able to have this because you're blessed with land or cursed with land. When I went to my church, I thought, of course, my dream was 25 to 50 acres. And then I started praying, Lord, maybe about 20 acres would be fine. And then 10 acres, then 5. I would have never gone, or at least I wouldn't have stayed, I don't think, these 16 years had I known I was only going to have 1 acre of land. But God has turned the curse into the blessing. I would have a hard time, a difficult time, pastoring a church with many acres of land. I'm sure in time the Lord may give us that for other properties. But I always plan to have the main place, the main church on the small piece of property. It's made our church. And I'd like to challenge you. See, every church has a different obstacle. Yours may not be land, but it may be unemployment. But you have to overcome the obstacle. And that which, right from the beginning, that which was one of our hardships on our church became such a tremendous blessing. We call it the shuttle ministry. And I've been asked to speak for a few moments on the shuttle ministry. I guess you have to understand our church. As I said, we're located on 1 acre in the heart of the Silicon Valley. Very expensive. We just were appraised the building at $3 million, the land at over $1 million. And so you just don't go out and buy 5 and 10 acres. But there has to be a way to keep the thing going. Parking is so essential. You have to, you absolutely have to have a parking lot. Our parking lot, we have 35 parking stalls. Of course, none of our buses, we lease another place. All of our buses are at another place about a mile away. So we've had to overcome this. Every city has an ordinance. In your city, it's probably 4 people per vehicle. Our city is 4 people per vehicle. However, some cities you can have 3 people in your auditorium. For every 3 people, you need a parking stall. Some cities, and even in our area, some cities are as tough as for every 2 people in church, you have to have 1 parking stall. Our city is 4 to 1. Last year we averaged 1,652 on a weekly basis. That means we need to have legally 415 parking stalls to accommodate what the city says is going to be inside the building. Instead of 415 stalls, we have 35. It's hard to move all that amount of people, but it's become such a blessing. The remedy began 15 years ago. When we ran out of parking, we said, all right, we'll begin a shuttle ministry. I knew I had to sell the people on the idea because new ideas normally are not well received unless you set it up properly. So we said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start next week a shuttle ministry. I got all the staff and all the deacons. I met with them first of all. I said, no question, you have to use this. And by the way, I think any ministry can succeed if you just realize that your staff and deacons have to go along with it. I'll read just on a Sunday night. I'll say I want to have all the deacons stand. I want to congratulate the following deacons for parking in the church parking lot tonight. And it's just sort of a fun time. We've learned to enjoy it. We started in 1977 with a limousine service. I didn't have any money to outlay $10 or $15 or $20 or $30,000 for a shuttle bus, and so I rented stretch limousines. Well, now a lot of people have ridden in those, businessmen, but in 77, nobody in my church had ever been in a limousine. And it was a novel idea. I think it was $100 a week. We were paying for 2 limousines for a couple hours. And I said, if you'll ride in the limousine next Sunday, we'll give you a free ride from a school parking lot, which is about 6 blocks away from us, from the school parking lot to the church, right to the door. We'll serve you coffee, juice, donuts. We'll give you a script card, and they'll punch that. And every time you ride in the limousine, you get 50 cents off in our bookstore. Well, needless to say, boy, it grew. I mean, it was exciting. It was exciting for people to park over there 6 blocks away, ride in a limousine. Kids wanted to do it. Parents wanted to do it. Get a cup of coffee, get a donut, get a script card, go in the bookstore, spend it after you fill the $5 card up. And it began. And with that limousine service, it grew so fast that we began to purchase shuttle buses. I did an awful thing. I didn't look to see what time I started. I'll be done in about 4 minutes. What did he show me up there? All right. So we began to purchase shuttle buses. You know, these that you push the button and the doors open up either in the middle of the vehicle up front, and beautiful ones. Some we purchased brand new, right from the factory, chrome wheels and air conditioning and reclining seats and AM, FM stereo, and they're just gorgeous. They're beautiful. And so we purchased those, and we began to outgrow the school parking lot. Just a few blocks away from that is a computer corporation, and the Lord has given us that parking lot also. And so now we've gone from limousines to airport shuttle buses, and they're running all the time. Then when I went to my church 16 years ago, we had only one lady that lived in the neighborhood. That's all. And through the years, people have either sold their homes in other neighborhoods and moved into the church, or we've won people to Christ. And we have at least, and I think I'm on the low side here, about 70 families now that are active, that come Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, that live right in the church neighborhood within about a 10-block radius. And so we began to think of a way to expand the shuttle ministry, and one of our mechanics, Brother Dennis Sherbino, took a shuttle bus, and he has the same program of coffee and juice and donuts and a script card and Christian music playing, and he has a telephone. It's programmed with every single member's telephone number in it. And so all that he does, he pushes the button. For example, my home. I live right by the church, right by the school that we use the parking lot. And he programs my number, and he'll push the number, and it rings in my home. It's Pastor, it's 4:55. I'll be in your area within 5 minutes. Are you ready? Now, some nights I have to say, because something has happened, I say I have to have you come by in about another 15 minutes. And about 10 minutes later, he'll call again, and I say, are you ready? I just walk out my door, Right, do it every service. Right to the bus at the curb there. From there, he takes me right to the door of the church. I pity you guys with parking lots. It is so inconvenient to have a parking lot. It'd have to be. You have to park way out there in the boondocks and walk in the rain and the snow. Right from my front door to the front door of the church, I mean right to the front door. I have, we've added a huge canopy over our building, so the only time I'd ever get wet if it's raining is from the door of the shuttle to about across the sidewalk, about 8 feet, and that's the only time I could ever get wet if it was raining. Now, it's exciting. It's thrilling. Here's the benefit of it. The benefit is, number one, our people fellowship before and after church on that bus. The best thing we have found is not back-to-back seating, but perimeter seating. Now, perimeter seating is not good on a long trip because you get dizzy. But perimeter seating is the best for a shuttle ministry because they sit across from one another. It's a big family. You can shout down the hallway, down the end of the bus, the aisleway, and visit. And they talk about it. Boy, we're going to church. You see, most of them have just argued about getting to church on time anyway. And fought. And the fellow has been out in the driveway honking his horn, so they pull up to the shuttle lot, and there's a fellow that greets them out front, and they get on the bus, and they're talking and howdying, and they forgot they're mad at one another. So it's a great thing for fellowship. It's great to talk about the service afterwards. Boy, wasn't that a great service day? And we have visitors use it, and they get the idea that it was great. Secondly, we set an atmosphere before the service. I mean, it's all set. They're coming to an exciting place. Here are security officers directing the traffic and traffic control people and buses coming and buses going and cars pulling in. And it's an exciting atmosphere. Thirdly, here's a mother, for example, in the neighborhood bus. Nowadays, it's law, I think, almost in every state that you have to have these car seats and seat belts for kids. That's a hassle. But here's a mother that lives in the neighborhood, and the shuttle comes right to her house. She doesn't have a car seat to contend with. She doesn't have any seat belts to contend with. She just walks on the bus with the kids. And if she wants, and she doesn't want a wrinkled dress, she can just stand up and hang on to the bar up there all the way to church. Number 4, it's a benefit because it's door-to-door service. Number 5, really, it's just fun. It's a lot of fun. And then I'll tell you what it does. It spreads the ministry around the neighborhood. We have 16 to 18, 19 of our Sunday school buses going in this neighborhood, coming in, dropping off kids at this location, at this location. All of our locations are right there. They drop kids off here and park over here. And then these shuttle buses are moving through the neighborhoods. And it's like something's happening at that church. We've maintained a tremendous relationship with our neighbors. In fact, the neighbors just recently came to the city council and fought again for us to be approved for an additional building on the 35 parking stalls, another 22,000 square foot building. And the neighbors fought for us. And I'll tell you what, you guys that have these big parking lots, you may not have a neighborhood shuttle like I have, or you may not have for other properties, but you ought to think about like Disneyland and some of these amusement parks. Your people park 2 blocks away on your property. You ought to run a shuttle bus out there and pick them up and bring them into church. It has been, I looked at it at first, and I thought, my goodness, is this going to be a hardship, building a church with no land? And I believe God will give us more in time. But it's a thing that's made my church. It's a pioneering spirit. It's a happy spirit. It's a family. And we make too many things too easy. The thing that provoked me to do this was a statement Brother Hyles made some years ago. In our church service, when I got there, the church was 6 months old. It had already been set at 6:30 is the evening service. But he said this: too many of you guys are changing your services to 5 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 o'clock to make it convenient for the people. He said, I think there ought to be a price you pay to come to church. It was that little statement that provoked me to think there ought to be a price in even getting to church. And that price has turned out to be one of the greatest blessings. They park at a different lot, right on in, and we love the shuttle ministry. Thank you, Dr. Hyles.
That's amazing. Literally amazing. They'll just rent a parking lot somewhere, and everybody drives to that parking lot, and the bus picks them up, takes them to church. It's wonderful. Yeah, you could have thought of that idea between the time you should have gotten up and the time you eat breakfast every morning. Folks, there's no secret to success. It's just plain old work, that's all. That's wonderful.
I just want to share with you our spring program from 1976. As you remember, 1976 was our nation's bicentennial. So our program was based upon that and with a patriotic theme. Each person who attended the first Sunday received, or each visitor rather, received a bicentennial Bible right here. We gave these away, had these made just specifically for that Sunday, and it had a lot of things concerning our country, our Constitution in it, and pictures of our past presidents and so forth. If a husband and wife both came, they received also another family Bible. This was the Hyles Anderson College edition that we gave away. Then we had every person who brought a visitor received one of Brother Hyles' new books, the book that had just come out, Please Pardon My Poetry. Then each Sunday throughout the program, a patriotic gift was given away, except for one Sunday, which was Easter Sunday. We gave away plastic American flag rings, little rings that had the American flag on the top, bicentennial ballpoint pens, a 7-inch flexible ruler with the flag and God Bless America imprinted upon it. And then patriotic First Baptist Church had First Baptist Church written on it, litter bags that you put in your car that said, Take Pride in America. Then on Easter Sunday, a small Easter egg bank was given to all the children. And then each person received a flag lapel pin. And then the fellows one Sunday received one of those pop-out little guns that had a pop-out flag on it. And then the next Sunday, the ladies received a Spirit of 76 rain bonnet. Now, there are 3 special awards given away throughout the contest. The first was a Paul Revere Award. That went to the superintendent that had the best Sunday. And that next Wednesday night, she had to wear a halo throughout the Wednesday evening service and received a special gift. Now, the worst superintendent, the superintendent had the worst department, received the Benedict Arnold Award, and she had to have the devil sit with her and was escorted by the devil throughout the entire Wednesday evening service. And then the outstanding superintendent, the outstanding bus worker, and then non-college bus worker, then the outstanding bus worker, each received a free trip to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for 2 days and 3 nights, and never mind, I won't say anything. But they received that gift, all expenses paid, and $100 spending money. And then throughout the contest, every other Sunday we had a special guest speaker, and that was our spring program from March 1976.
Brother Keith Gomez, would you come, please, sir? Here he comes. Brother Gomez and I met the other day. Didn't know we were going to meet, but met at the Pittsburgh airport. And I didn't know he was there. He didn't know I was there. And we were waiting for a flight. And he walked over and said, Brother Hyles. And we got on. He said, where are you going? I said, Parkersburg, West Virginia. He said, that's where I'm going. We're on the same plane. So we got on the same plane, went in front of the plane, sat down together. Stewardess came back and said, one of you fellows have to go back a little bit. Said, it's for weight distribution on the airplane. But Keith Gomez, I'm proud of him, very proud of him. One of our graduates at Hyles Anderson College. Now this fella has probably the hardest problem of all, and I mean this. He pastors in one of the wealthiest areas in all the Chicago area. Over in Prospect Heights, Illinois, on the other side. This is the poor people's side of Chicago, and that's the wealthy people's side. I'm talking about this fellow pastors in an area where homes will cost $300,000, $400,000, or $500,000. And he's reaching those people with the gospel. We love him. I'm proud of him. One of our own grads, and we thank God for him. To make him feel at home, we've asked some of his own ladies to come and sing for us this morning. And I mentioned a very wealthy congregation.
Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Ghost. The Holy Ghost, as it was in the beginning, as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be, world without end, world without end. Amen.
That's almost true. I wish it was funny. It's an honor to be here, and Mother Hyles asked me to speak. I feel a little awkward this morning for the fact that all these great preachers have been talking about how to build, how to work, how to build your church, and he's asked me to teach you how to play. I'll be speaking on men's activities this morning, and I hope that it'll be a blessing to you. If that was one of Brother Trieber's men, I would suggest that he have me in for a revival. Men's activities. Men's activities. I think you could help him. I can't help him with his parking, but I could help him with his men. All right. Humanly speaking, I owe my salvation to Dr. Bob Smith, who's here this week, and my call to preach to Dr. Bob Buchanan, and my minister to Dr. Jack Hyles, and taught me everything I know about church building, and I appreciate him more than he'll ever know. All of my pastors were men. I was saved at the age of 21 at the Central Baptist Church. I walked in mean and football player, and I needed a man to preach to me, and I had a man preach to me. The second pastor I had was a man also, and he preached to me, and I was called to preach. And then God sent me to this good school in this church to be taught again by a man, a real man. In 1 Corinthians 6:9, it talks about the effeminate will not inherit the kingdom of God. The same Greek word is used again about John the Baptist, about when it said, have you come out to see a man in soft raiment? That word soft. I would suggest if you're going to have men's activities, that some of you preachers become men. You say, what are you talking about? I just saw somebody go up the stairs over there, wiggled all the way up. A man ought not walk like that. You ought to be a man yourself. You ought to be a man in your mannerisms. You ought to be a man in your walk. You ought to be a man in your talk. You ought to be a man in your leadership. And when you do that, I can assure you can have men's activities. Too long our ladies have run our churches. And we need some men. We need some men back in the pulpit. We need some men in the pews. And if you begin to concentrate and emphasize on the men, I can assure you can have a man's church. We have a man's church up in Prospect Heights. Now, what you need to do, first of all, is get you a year calendar of activities for you men. It doesn't have to be many activities.
but just make sure the ones that you have are good and interesting where your men would want to come back. Detail every activity out. Just don't get together and find out what happens. Detail every activity out. Push for a good attendance. Make sure that they come, and promote it from your pulpit and from your church bulletin. Now, here's some activities. You might want to write some of these down. You can come up with your own. Number one, maybe seasonal sports night. You might want to have a Super Bowl type night, or a series with a baseball or whatever. Whatever you want to do, you can have a baseball night. Promote it. Have your men come out. Choose the teams up. Have this thing organized, and have a men's baseball game. It's a wonderful thing, and it's an interesting thing, and your men will be involved in it. Basketball, you might want to have a tournament and have your men come out. Our men enjoy this. We have our boys also very involved with their fathers, and this is a good time for the father and the son, but the men enjoy it more than the boys. You might want to have football. Flag football. Be careful, though. When you have these sports, make sure that you explain the rules to your men. I remember I first got saved. I had scholarship offers coming in for ball. By the way, Brother Hyles didn't tell you on that little commuter plane who moved to the back. But anyhow, I'll tell you that later. Anyhow, you know, some of us are big because we're ball players. Others are big because they sat in the stands and ate popcorn and stuff. But anyhow, all right. Me and Brother Hyles played ball. Explain the rules. When I first got saved, I ended up at LSU on a disability football scholarship, my left knee totally reconstructed. And I ended up at LSU for 2 years. And after that, I got saved and ended up at the Central Baptist Church. Immediately, they said, we're playing ball. We want you to come play ball. I went out the first game. I'd just been saved a little while. Nobody told me any rules. And I threw a forearm and hit a man. The first play of the ball game, hit a man in the face, broke his nose, put it on the side of his face. And he started fussing at me for illegal forearm, and I called him a wimp. I did not. I called him a sissy. I said, man, this is ball. Don't you play ball? And I went back to the huddle, and they explained to me that was the pastor of the other church we were playing. Me being reared in Roman Catholicism, I respected the man of God, and I almost started crying. I sought him out, and they had already taken him to the hospital. Brother Bob Smith's fault. He didn't tell me the rules, but anyhow, tell your men the rules. Get the rules right before you have these. Now, and you might want to have a volleyball game for the men. This is for the faint-hearted and the quiche eaters. You'll have some men like that in your church, and no real man eats quiche. But anyhow. Now, what I'm trying to say, this will give you 4 nights with the boys. 4 nights with the boys. 4 nights with the boys. And they'll love it. And I want to say something here, interject something. Help those who are not athletically inclined. Don't make fun of them. And teach your men not to make fun of them. Help them. I remember a man came to me one time. We had a baseball game, and he didn't swing at the ball like this. He swung the ball like that. And I had to take time to tell him, you swing the ball like this. But anyhow... But I told him, a few men started to make fun of him, and I hushed them. And I went to teach that man. That man started crying. He said, I never had a father to ever teach me any of this. Would you teach me? And I taught him how to bat. A second activity you might want to have is a skeet shoot or target shoot. Now, I believe every real man ought to own a gun. In fact, I believe you ought to have a ministry in your church, NRA. Listen, when I went to Prospect Heights, they had one man in the church that owned a gun. One. And I own about 80 or 90 guns. And so I began to teach this and take my men out shooting, and had a great time, skeet shooting and target shooting. And the men who join my church now find out that everybody owns guns, and I'll say a word or two about it every now and again. And if they don't have one, they'll come down to my office and they can buy one of mine if they'd like. But I want them to have a gun. I want them to have a gun. It has something to do with masculinity. And anyhow, and if you get mad, you can shoot somebody. Now listen. Since we've done that, most of my men own guns. Some of our women have become good shots. Now you got to teach on the home and keep peace in the home, see? I had old Hoodlum saved out of, he was saved, he was from the city, came out to the suburb, and got him a position and or a business, started him a business, and never owned a gun in his life. The only gun he ever saw was on the streets of Chicago. And I told him about skeet shooting, I ought to go buy him a gun. He bought him a sawed-off shotgun. We had a skeet shoot one time. By the way, I teach him how to handle it safely, how to load it. He just walked out on the skeet shoot. They threw a skeet, and he just shot from the hip. Boom! I tell you something, preachers. It'll endear your men to you. I believe in appropriateness. I believe that a preacher ought to dress well. I believe you ought, but bless God, every now and again you're going to have to take off your tie. I mean that. I know some of you don't like that, but I'm telling you like it is. Listen, if you think that degrades my leadership, go talk to my men. Every now and again they want to see you get out there and shoot a gun. Now, I'm not going to shoot a gun in a 3-piece camo suit. Helps emasculate. Number 3, maybe hunting trips. This is a good activity with your men. Take them on hunting trips. Teach them how to shoot a gun and take them hunting every now and again. Teach them how to bow hunt, man. There's nothing like bow hunting. Killing an animal with a primitive weapon. If they have open season on pocket knives, I'm going to use pocket knives. But teach them how to bow hunt. I took 11 men to Alaska. 11 men in Alaska. In fact, I took a preacher, Brother Rick Fox, and Brother Randy Taylor was there in Alaska. We had a great time in Alaska. Take them hunting. Spend some time with them. Black bear hunt in Canada or something. I told you I was going to teach you how to play. You ought to be taking notes. It may not build your church, but it'll build some men in your church that will build your church. Take them whitetail hunting. Teach them how to shoot a gun. Number 4, food fest. Now, this is one of the most popular activities you'll ever have with men, and especially Baptist men. Food fest. Venison, wild game. You might go pheasant hunting or quail hunting. Cook this up for your men. They'll love it. We do it every year. I got connections just the other day, and we're going to fly in about 500 pounds of crawfish from Louisiana, and I'm going to have a crawfish ball for a bunch of Yankee men. I'm going to teach them how to suck the heads of a crawfish. I'm going to teach them. Might want to cook up some jambalaya for them. They love it. And this is all strange distance, but it's good. Maybe have a chili supper. Any food fest for the men is a good activity, a good time of fellowship. You might be in an area where you can take them canoeing. It's a good thing. Rafting. We do some of this in Wisconsin, canoeing and rafting. And just recently went down the Snake River in Hell's Canyon. And boy, that was an amazing thing. Now, I want to say this for fear that some of you would think that all we do is play around my place. Over 90% of my church goes soul winning. 90%, not 10%, 90%. Just about all of my men are soul winning men. They're soul winning men because I have taken the time with them to spend some time with them in men's activities. This coming year we'll baptize over 1,000 people in that area. Now you listen to me, we don't all play, but we work. We work night and day, and I can assure you we put in the time. But friend, I'll tell you what, they enjoy being with the preacher every now and again, just doing some of these men's activities. Thank you, preacher.
Prospect Heights, Illinois, if you know where it is a flusy area. That nut there, and that reverend there has gone over there first started off in a school gymnasium, rented school gymnasium, and he's running 900 to 1,000 people in Sunday school, one of the solidest churches you'll ever find in your life, and he's reaching those people. You want to know how to build a church? Take your hunting time to think of ideas. God convicted me during that. I'm going to take my idea time, go hunting from now on. That's what I'm going to do. It's time for me to try to sell you some books. I have a 68-page book that has the entire Bible study. I did not give the entire Bible study last night. It's called The Blood, the Book, and the Body. And it has 2 chapters. You all feel free to go on out if you want to. Just leave. They're going hunting now. Hey, this is not Friday. They went out from us, but they were not of us. Or if they had been of us, they would no doubt have continued with us. This little book has the Bible study in detail, 2 Bible studies on the blood, one on why the blood saves, and another on the necessity of the blood. And then it has my sermon, Logic Must Prove the King James Bible. And then it has my study on true fundamentalism, or Let's Be Baptists. That's caused more controversy in America than anything I've ever done in my life. And I plan to keep on causing it.